It's Valley Radio. Robert McGill here with you, doing the Texas 12-pack, counting down the top 12 Texas country songs of the week. And it's time for the number one song. And as luck would have it, I've got the gentleman that holds the number one position on the phone right here, right now. Joining me on the phone, Mr. Mark Powell. Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Glad to be hanging with you.
Man, congratulations on another number one. How many does that make this, just, I guess, off this record?
Yeah. What's 3 in a row?
Wow.
And, we're just super blessed. Really just grateful that, we put out our 5th album, Breaking Things, back at the end of 2018. And luckily, we've had 5 singles off of it. And all 5 have been in the top 4. And so, with the last 3 being number one, we're ecstatic, and we're just so grateful that people, like the music, and that's really all that matters. But, man, to get that, it's amazing.
Now, I haven't talked to you for a while. It was either very early this year or very late last year. We talked about this then, that this record has some legs. But, man, it's, you're going on 2 years, I guess. But I guess when you take into consideration a pandemic just kind of hollowed out 6 months out of it, it's really not that long. But when you put this collection of songs together, did you think you'd have these kind of legs on it?
Well, I did. We had pretty good traction with the 3rd album, Homegrown, and then the 4th one, Marquee. And, I thought those were all right. This one, there was a lot of work on this one. I'd been 4 months with Dean Dillon exclusively trying to write for the album. And then also with guys like Bubba Strait, Jeff Hyde, and all those guys. And, I was whittling off of 120 that I liked,
Wow.
And so, I really tried to take the best and then try to, get guys that I respect on our team to really help me whittle, down to those 11 or 12. And, and it's cool because there's still like 3 or 4 songs that people loved it.
Right.
They want it to be singled out. And so, but I don't know. Sometimes, you sit back and you're like, you know what, all of that hard work, in the writing block, kind of worked out. So I'm just hoping it keeps on going. That's all we can hope for.
Well, man, the record's great. Again, we're talking to Mark Powell here. He's got the number one song this week on the Texas Regional Radio Report. That's the Texas country charts. And the record is called Breaking Things, which was one of your singles, earlier on. But the number one song this week is Project. And I got to say, man, this might be one of my favorite songs on the record. It's just so fun, and it's just got attitude. It's kind of sexy. It's got all those elements, and then the video is fantastic. So tell me the background of the actual song Project, where it came from, and then let's talk about the video too.
That means a lot for you saying that, and actually that gives me hope when you say that, because when other guys say that they love it, and it's because. You kind of have to have a little bit of a warped sense of humor, and you also have to be that, dude like me that is like, yeah, you know what? Those projects you see in everyday life all the time, Anyway, the song itself, it took shape. Me and Dean Dillon were we were making a long road trip, but we ended up finishing a show in Birmingham, Alabama, and then we had to get to Florida, down to Floribama, and on the way we had written "Walk Away," which was the second out of the box on Breaking Things, and it did all right. And then, but we had a little time, like we had something like 20 minutes before sound check at the Floribama. He goes, "What else is that up your sleeve?" And I said, "Well, I want to write this one about the dude that like me." I wasn't, very popular in my tiny little high school. I was, more of a geek, played music and whatever. And it was like, I saw the dudes. I saw the popular chicks, and they were always lugging around this caveman of a bad guy,
Yes, yep,
and I'm like, how is this happening? And then you see it again in college, and you see it, when you're an adult. And, so I was trying to relate to Dean, and he goes, yeah, dude, and it even happens when you're in your 70s. And I go, perfect. All right. So, we wrote it around that mindset, that kind of part of life deal where, and a lot of it, we thought that this is our opinion. We always think that hot chick got it all together is doing that only because she thinks she can morph him into something she wants,
Right.
So anyway.
Lyrically, it's so clever and tongue-in-cheek, and I love that whole first person. It's you're taking on that persona, and it's just fantastic, man. Just great stuff.
After we wrote it, and then after I started playing it, I'm like, it hit me one day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm writing about myself. Turns out I'm a project as well, I think.
I was going to say, is there any experience you have where you've been that guy that's that let's be honest, man, musicians are just infamous or renowned for letting the girlfriend fund their cause until they make it and then they dump them. Do you have a personal example of that?
Oh yeah, kind of. I don't know. So we try to keep my wife does completely different stuff than I do, and she's in the medical stuff, but we keep all of her stuff separate to mine, and that's good. That's very, very good. But I don't know. I like the way it worked out. I really like how many people. I was very surprised at how many people really caught on to the idea. And that's what's cool. Sometimes I write songs and they're funny to me only. And
right.
And when you get the ones that, and it's not all about funny. I think you've got to. It's the hardest thing in writing songs like that in particular are straddling that line between wit and it just being a good song. And I try to stay right there as close as I can on that fence. And you don't want them corny. You don't want them, whatever. You want them to be, have that little spice of wit.
Yeah.
But anyway, when it got to the video, gosh, I threw that in the hands of, stand-up comedian and a production outfit. They ran wild on it. I gave them a blank slate. And I really like the way that turned out, too.
Well, now, who is that? Who is that ginger redneck you got in the video?
Okay, so that is a guy I graduated high school with, and now he's doing really well.
Okay.
A stand-up comedian and a producer and a whatever. Back when I briefly lived in Nashville for a little bit, and I was working with him on creating country comedy for some of the stand-up things, and he actually kind of put out an album that, it was straight kind of comedy, but his name is Clinton Pickens. Okay. Most people kind of know him early on in his career. I don't know if you remember this. There was a Super Bowl commercial back in, 10, 15 years, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe, Super Bowl commercial of the Bud Light, and it was the dog that went and fetched beers.
Okay, I think I vaguely remember that, but I don't remember him. So.
Yeah, I think it's the here we go, and then the dog will go in there. And anyway, so he kind of created and was a character in that, but he's been in other things as well. It's his first time producing a music video, and he co-produced it with a group called Pink Goose Media. And like I say, they've been kind of attached to our team for a little bit. They also help with my Music Fest Outlaws and Legends. They've done a couple other music videos for me as well. But I seriously told them the reason why I wrote it and idea, and then I said, look, y'all, I don't want to break any creative design. Y'all blank slate it and roll. And so they only asked me to stand in a field for 20 minutes. The rest of it was all to him.
Wow, very cool, man. Well, it all comes together real nicely. Obviously, the video fits the tone of the song. I mean, again, not lip service, man. I mean, you really kind of lightning struck on this tune. The way, like I said, the lyrics, the music, it all fits. That cocksureness. It's fantastic. Great. Easily my favorite song on the record. Now let's talk about the record. I'm sure you got more releases coming. Is it going to be off Breaking Things? You're going to keep on going, or are you going to put out some new stuff we haven't heard yet?
I do think that for sure we're going to release another one off of Breaking Things. I mean, I've got songs like, If You Were a Beer, and it goes on, and I hear from people.
Right.
I also watch downloads. So when I get the report from people that are into my music or buying the music, and I see the downloads spike at certain songs that haven't been released, and to me that means something. And you pair that with a radio promoter and my guy Ty and all that, and they kind of help with those decisions too. But we are going to be releasing another one off of Breaking Things, but I've got other things up the sleeve for sure.
All right, right on. Hey, well, again, we're talking to Mark Powell here. He's got the number one song this week on the Texas charts with Project. We're going to play that here in a minute. Now, you mentioned you've been doing this about 10 years, and you like to kind of, you said you like to kind of do a little bit of this, a little of that. I think it's fantastic that, again, you mentioned you kind of head up your own music festival. You're very video-oriented in that you shoot some really good professional videos. A lot of artists that have been in the game for 10 years or even longer haven't got the business side of it down quite like you do. How did you learn early on in your career how to do it right?
Well, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I just work as hard as I can. So Jerry Jeff Walker died recently, and I had a really cool sit down with him, and I took away. Now I graduated ACU with a business degree, and I knew I was going to do music business, and there's a lot of people in the music business, they don't understand the business part of it.
Right.
Pretty important, I think. And sitting down with Jerry, he said 4 things, and I've got them written down. It's just super easy stuff. But one is work hard. Number 2 is don't let ego get the best of you. Oh my gosh, now I'm blanking out. So it's work hard. Oh yeah, number 2 is treat people kind. And gosh, it's super important. Don't let ego get the best of you. And number 4 is leave a legacy. So, those are super important to me. Of course, they're super easy, but if you leave one of those out, it stifles your career. And so, where I'm at with it is, try to keep the video. Music's gotten that way. People want to see what's going on, and you've got all those digital outlets to where that can happen. And, and I've got my own, my ranch, which is a working ranch, but it's also a venue for my music fest. And I've had that for 10 years. And, I try to, we tour as much as we can. Of course, this year's kicked our butt, because we're going hard and heavy on fairs and festivals, and those are the first things out the door.
Yeah.
And then of course the publishing. I try to write. Like lately, I've been writing for other artists in the downtime, and so you can catch some of my songs now with Jamie Richards and Jesse Robb and the Hamiltons and Kevin and other guys.
Right,
and
very good.
I'm trying to stay current on that publishing too. So diversification.
Well, man, you got it going on in all the right ways, man. Very, very cool. Well, again, we're talking to Mark Powell. Number one song of the week this week is Project, and it's a darn good one. I guess final question before we get into the song. Man, the world's kind of opened up a little bit, so I don't want to get too much into the COVID thing because I'm done with it. But how are you ramping back up? What's in the future? Are you getting back on the road?
Yeah.
How's that looking?
So I'm doing some songwriter shows like this week. I've got me and Bruce Robinson and Terry McBride and Wynn Barble we're doing a storyteller event or 2 this week, and outside of that, I'm going to do a couple more things like that, but like I say, we're working on new songs, we've got a major couple of surprises down the pike. That unfortunately I'm not at liberty to say much, but there's a lot of stuff there, and so I'm working in the background on that kind of thing. In the meantime, we've been pushing this Project music video, and very grateful. Somehow we wound up on CMT's top 10 and Taste of Country's top 10, and that really expanded for us little independents from Texas. We got a lot of international things, and then little outlets, Roku and music choice, and all of those are, they've latched on. So we've been trying to drive that. It's kind of foreign turf for us.
Well, man, that's fantastic stuff, man. That is really cool. It's exciting to hear about all your success, despite the slowing down of the world, to a near halt.
Yeah.
That is the great thing about the generation we live in now, is that even though we can't do the live shows because of technology, you can still record records, in a home studio or someplace that's safe, and then of course digitally getting that media out there, it still keeps everybody entertained and spreads the word about what you got going on. So sounds like, man, you know what you're doing, and you got the right people to do it with you. So very cool.
Oh, I don't know. You know what? We wouldn't make very much headway at all if it weren't some cool dudes like you that are pushing the good stuff. And that's what people that listen don't ever realize. You guys doing what you're doing is super, super important for a guy like me. So I appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate too, man. We appreciate all you do. Thank you for cranking out the great music, and we look forward to having you come down here in the Southwest Texas area at some point. Well, let's get into the song, man. Again, the number one song this week on the Texas 12-pack, Mark Powell. It's called Project. Of course, if you want to find out more about Mark, just Google Mark Powell. I think it's Mark Powell Music. Is that right? .com for the website?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
And, man, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to spell this, man. We really appreciate you, brother.
Well, I appreciate you more than you know.
All right, here it is, number one song, Project, Mark Powell. This is Uvalde Radio with the Texas 12-pack.
I can tell by the way you're dressed, you got it made in the shade. And I guess you can tell by the way I smell, I'm not quite that way. So before you turn and walk away, I got an offer you can't reject. I need a home, and you need a project. You can tear down what little's left after she got through with me. Build me back up, turn this pile of dust in the man of your dreams. Brick by brick and stone by stone, I'll be your perfect wreck. I need a home, and you need a project. You say you got a soft spot for stray dogs. Well, honey, I'm bound to find a real soft couch to lay on, so this should all work out just fine. You'll have your work cut out for you if it's me you want to perfect. Well, I need a home, and you need a project. Now you can bet your grass it won't get mowed, the house it won't stay clean. You'll have to lie to all your friends of the high society. Tell them I'm holding out for management, but honey, don't hold your breath. But I need a home, and you need a project. You say you got a soft spot for stray dogs. Well, honey, I'm bound to find a real soft couch to lay on, so this should all work out just fine. You'll have your work cut out for you if it's me you want to perfect. But I need a home, and you need a project. You say you got a soft spot for stray dogs. Well, honey, I'm bound to find a real soft couch to lay on, so it should all work out just fine. You'll have your work cut out for you if it's me you want to perfect. But I need a home, and you need a project. Yeah, I need a home, and you need a project.